Strange coming back here now, like this. A place I used as a crutch to get through the tough times when I found myself suddenly alone again. Funny how history repeats itself.
Tonight? Tonight was the first time he used a gun. This guy relies on close proximity. So remember, if you approach him, it gives him power.
Sir, if we can't approach him, how do we arrest him?
Remember your training. He's a wanted cop killer now. You can shoot him on sight.
Bell Killer War Room.
No, sir. I'd be very... No. No suspects at this point, sir.
This boils down to sloppy leadership, Lieutenant. Whoever made the call for Ronan to go in alone, it's on you. We lose one of our own tonight, and you have no suspects and no leads?
Look, Captain, he wore gloves and apparently didn't touch anything in the apartment other than the knob on the front door. He didn't leave prints, fibers, or anything else traceable. And if you think I don't want this guy to pay more than you, you are sadly mistaken.
Watch your tone, Rex. Everyone knows he was your brother-in-law, so you don't need to remind us. But you lose your cool again, and more of your own will join Ronan. You understand me? You find this guy, or a clue that leads to his doorstep. Now! That's an order.
Yeah, understood.
This killer's flesh and blood like all of us. Gotta have faith in the department.
Wish I could say that's the weirdest thing I saw tonight.
about the missing tenants.
Just gotta do our work.
Baxter, you still relying on that wizard lady?
You know I ain't into all that spiritual crap. But she's onto something. Results are results. You find a more reliable source, you let me know.
I can't tell you anything, son. I'm not Thomas.
I've only been in the department for 6 months.
Is it even safe in the police station?
I'd say it happens a lot. I've been on the force nearly 20 years, and I'm... alive.
Shakes you up, but it doesn't. Guess it doesn't happen often.
Not that we want it to happen more often.
I want to get out in the field someday, of course. This has just been a rough day.
Listen, young man. We're all gonna have rough days. Good thing is,
Ronan make detectives so fast?
Cops, you gotta stick together.
When was the last time a badge from here died on duty?
Never.
Chief's gotta take Rex off this. He's not gonna be able to think straight.
Are you kidding? You couldn't drag me into this case now. Wonder if that girl knows something. There were reasons for going by the book.
Gotta find some clue about who this freak is.
Gotta have faith in the department. Is there someone over there?
Rex. Oh, man.
What were you in for?
It's too complicated to get into. Let's just say that I wasn't about to let some judge decide how to spend the rest of my life. That's my choice, so I made it. Either way, no, it doesn't matter now, does it?
If it didn't, you wouldn't still be here. Maybe I could help?
Nah, I appreciate it, but you know, it looks like you got your own shit to deal with. I'll figure it out on my own. Always have. Thanks, though.
If only I could tell my younger self what I would become.
I've got to get out of here. There's a ghost right over there in that cell. Don't you have some other place you can keep me?
Shut up, man. It's bad enough we're in jail without all your crazy talk.
What? You too? There's another one. Tell me you can't see this guy. He's right.
The ghost is right there. Can they really not see this?
Wrong cell. Yours should have padded walls.
Mind if I ask what happened?
What does it look like? I died.
Yeah, I can see that. I meant, how did you die? Autopsies aren't this thorough when the cause of death is cut and dry.
I don't know. A bunch of pills. Some were sleeping pills. It was supposed to be peaceful. I didn't know that you wake up. What am I supposed to do now?
I wish I knew, kid. I'll let you know if I figure it out myself.
Isn't a spiderweb tattoo usually a symbol for time spent in prison? Why would this tattoo have 2 spiders in the web?
Why is the old guy so harsh?
Focus on your work.
And this raven, it's like chained to... Are those prison bars?
We don't pay you to analyze tattoos.
Yes, sir.
Med school doesn't teach you everything.
His entire arm looks like a confession. A confession of a lot of stuff.
We respect
this is all a bad dream. It has to be.
Even when he was right. think I've learned all I can here. I better go find that witness.
Why do I get stuck with the crazy guy?
This is all a bad dream. It has to be.
Get involved in this homicide stuff.
Why doesn't he ever talk?
Sickness she carried in her brain, you made it tolerable. Well, I
guess you must be together now.
Each murder changes. The inner zeal is the same. This is why the killings seem random, unrelated. But the police can't see these connections. Except Officer Baxter. I can't say I trust him, but he's my only chance.